Tina and I'm back. And I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe. If you're also back, welcome back. And if you're new, maybe consider subscribing if you like what you see. So I have a fun video for you guys today. So I was going through my haul videos this year and also going through my shopping list from Ulta and from Sephora to figure out my favorite products of the year, because of course I'm going to do a favorite product roundup. And while I was going through those lists, I realized that I really didn't pick up a ton of eyeshadow palettes this year, and I'm like, wow, let me go ahead and do a video talking about the eyeshadow palettes that I didn't pick up, and I am glad I did not. So these are going to be eyeshadow palettes that I skipped this year, and I am totally okay with that decision. I regret nothing. It is the best decision that I made for myself because I just know I wouldn't have gotten much use out of them. And after seeing review videos and swatches, I'm like, yep, that was the right decision to me. So if you want to hear about the palettes that I skipped this year, that I'm 100% okay with the decision, then stay tuned. Alright, so I've scooted over so you guys can see the palettes I'm talking about. I'll pop them up on the screen so you can follow along with why I didn't pick these up. So I'm going to start out with a brand that you guys will not be surprised is on the list because you probably didn't hear me talk about this brand too much this year. Urban Decay. So the first palette that I didn't pick up from them this year is their Naked Cyber palette. This is the newest addition to their Naked eyeshadow palette lineup. And it's cute, right? It follows the same layout and it has beautiful packaging. They have really been stepping it up with their packaging for these Naked palettes, and I appreciate that. But this palette, what the hell is this? All right, first of all, when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's cute, that's intriguing, that's interesting. And then I saw the swatches and I was like, wow, they're not doing themselves any service by showing me what the swatches look like before the palette is launched, because this palette looks tired as hell. So there seem to be 3 mattes in this palette that are peachy mattes, and then everything else is a very light tone duochrome or multichrome. They were trying to flex their multichrome muscles, and I don't think they quite understand what a multichrome is. They need to go speak to some indie brands to figure out what's going on, because this ain't it. And I am so glad I did not pick this up. And it doesn't seem like a lot of people were interested either. And for good reason. Like, what is this? It is very light, okay? So if you're a lighter skin tone and you're into these lighter, sparkly, like topper shades, maybe this is for you, but for me, no, because the majority of these shades are gonna really translate the same on my eyelids, and I wasn't interested. So this was an easy skip, and I think a lot of people skip this palette for good reason, because what was that? No, it was so easy to skip. Moving along, they have the Marvel Studios Eternals eyeshadow palette. This is one of their latest launches. So this is a collaboration with the Marvel's release of the Eternals movie. I still haven't seen that yet. Is it worth seeing? Y'all let me know. I'll probably see it eventually, but this was that collaboration with that movie franchise, right? And what was this? I saw this in store and I actually felt the eyeshadows. I swatched them and I was like, oh, these feel cute. These feel nice. They feel buttery. Okay. But the color story, what is this? I mean, the only interesting shade, honestly, from this palette is the blue. Other than that, I don't know what I'm supposed to be interested in. Like, they have a bunch of champagne shades and a couple of brown tones. Like, what am I supposed to be intrigued by? I mean, the green is there and the blue, and then they have this lavender looking. Yeah, it looks nice, but do I care? Not really. I was not interested in this at all, and it has gone on sale, child. It is on deep discount. You can get this for 50% off now. That's how poorly it did. And it's a running joke that Urban Decay eyeshadow palettes go on sale, so never buy it full price. But it's kind of sad because people almost never buy them when they just release, and then people pick them up when they go on sale. Which is sad that your brand is known for that, because Alright, the next palettes we have to talk about from Urban Decay are the two that were released with the Prince collection. So they did a collaboration with Prince, rest in peace, but they did a tribute to Prince and released two eyeshadow palettes, right? And I was like, oh, okay, what's going on here? And when I saw these palettes, I was ashamed. I was like, no, are you serious? Ooh. So they have the Prince You Got the Look eyeshadow palette, which has purples, a couple of silvery tones, a black, and a couple of gold. So this was meant to represent his gold and purple era. I am sad for Prince, because what is this? It looks so tired. Like, I get it though. Like, these shades make sense for what Prince would probably wear on tour or maybe in his videos. Like, he wears a smoky look, maybe some purple, a little gold. Like, it makes sense, but it's so boring and uninspired that I was just like, what? No. And these went on sale so fast as well. So they also have the Let's Go Crazy eyeshadow palette. I don't think these are still available at all. If they are, they're probably on steep discount. But the Let's Go Crazy one has purples, a couple of blues, and some pinks. And this one looked like it would be a better version. But when you see the swatches, they look so subdued and so dull, and it's just like, why would I want these muted tones? Like, Prince was bold. I mean, his eyeshadow maybe wasn't that bold, but still, like, I expect a Prince collaboration to be in your face, and this certainly was not. And I'm just like, woo, they cannot do a collaboration well to save their lives. And I'm just like, I've given up. I've really given up on Urban Decay. I don't expect them to do well. I don't even know if they'll be around much longer. It's sad to say, but I'm just reading the writing on the wall, and it's not looking great. The next palette that I didn't pick up is a more recent launch. So this is from our dear auntie Pat McGrath. This is the Mothership Mega Celestial Odyssey palette. Whoo! This is one of her larger eyeshadow palettes. She's done this larger eyeshadow palette for holidays before, and I picked that original palette up. And even though it wasn't a bad palette, I didn't find myself reaching for it after the holidays. Like, after I did a couple of looks with it and did my video, I was over it. Like, I never pulled it out. I never even thought about it again until I saw this palette launch, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember I have that palette. It just doesn't draw me in. The shimmers are really pretty, right? But they are just too much almost. Like, I don't know if you can say an eyeshadow is too much, but they're so sparkly and chunky and flaky, and the colors aren't really pretty. And then this color story is ugly, okay? I'm sorry. I find it so ugly and unenticing, and the texture of the shadows are just not my favorite. There are a couple of mattes, but the majority is shimmer. And I know Auntie Pat loves her shimmer, but I personally don't love shimmers. And there are a lot of pinks. There's this gold, there's this shimmery black. Like, I'm not into this color story at all. And I am so glad I didn't pick it up, because I don't regret it. Like, I'm looking now, it's on sale, and I'm like, I really could care less. I could have gotten it for 35% off on her website during her sale, and I didn't even flinch. Like, I didn't even second guess myself. Like, I didn't even want this at all. So that was an easy skip for me. All right, moving on. Let's talk about ABH. Woo, child. So ABH has not been releasing tons of eyeshadow palettes. So kudos to them. I think they learned their lesson that people are fed up with the tons of releases. Like, no one's interested, okay? Could you stop? So they released this Primrose palette for holiday. I think it's for holiday. They released it around the same time as other like fall and holiday releases. So this is the Primrose all-in-one face and eyeshadow palette. And it's $55 first of all, okay? It has 2 blush tones in it, and we have 10 eyeshadows. This is kind of like their version of the Pat McGrath Divine Rose palette, which is not a bad thing because a lot of people love that color story, but this is not what I'm into, okay? Pinks and mauves and those tones I can skip. And then the shades aren't, again, they're not innovative, they're not different. There's nothing enticing about this color story. And then they include these two blush shades, which I don't know that those are like the best shades for all skin tones. I guess you can mix the two to create a blush shade for you, but if you're really light, then that deeper shade may be too dark for you, and then if you're deep, then the lighter shade, Grapefruit, is gonna be too light. So it's like, I don't get it. I don't get face palettes, and I don't know why they would do an eyeshadow face palette. Their face products are not even that great. Their blushes are not that great. So it's like, why would you include some dud products in an eyeshadow palette? I'm just over it. I feel like they've done these color stories over and over again, but it's like almost going back to the ABH roots before Norvina took over and started to do all these colorful creations. I feel like Anastasia herself came in and said, no, you know what? We need to go back to what we know, and we need to do these more glam palettes. And I mean, it's more glamorous, but honestly, it's boring as hell. And I am so glad I skipped that one. That was so tired. Now, the next one up is from the Norvina spin-off of the brand. So this is the Norvina Pro Pigment Palette Volume 5. Now, I didn't pick up Volume 4, and I definitely didn't pick up Volume 5, even though I've heard good things. It's a purple palette. It's Norvina again doing purple. She's done purple before. Her original Norvina palette with ABH was a purple palette. The Norvina Pro Pigment Volume 1 was a purple palette. So I feel like this is just redundant. You're adding more purples to the line when you are like overloaded with purple. But I mean, this is her forte, this is her comfort zone, this is what she loves, so if it's her namesake, then go ahead. But this, no. And I've heard decent things, but again, I wasn't interested at all because I don't love purples, so that was an easy no. But like looking at the colors, it's just like, I have these already, and I have these from ABH. The other Pro Pigment palettes have purples in them, so why do I need another purple one? So this was such an easy skip. I didn't even have to think twice. Like, bye, I'm so good. All right, let's pull up another holiday launch. This is one that I thought for sure I was gonna get. So this is the Melt Cosmetics Amore in Mariposa's Pressed Pigment Eyeshadow Palette. Pretty, right? It seems cute, and it's $70. And I was like, ma'am, what? Now here's the thing, I pick up every single Melt Cosmetics eyeshadow palette. I have the majority of them. I think I maybe just don't have one. Maybe. And I think that's, which one is that? The Vivid, the Neon palette. That's the one that I don't have, but I have the stack. But all the other palettes I get and I love. I enjoy Melt Cosmetics palette. Unlike other people who say the formula is hit or miss, I really enjoy their formulation. I love their palettes. I love the color stories. They're my vibe. But this palette, there's something about it that just said no, and the $70 price point made it that much easier to say no. So this has 20 eyeshadows. It's a different layout than their usual layout, and 2 of the rows are eyeshadows and the bottom 2 rows are pressed pigments. So pressed pigments are a little trickier to work with. They have red dye in them. It's just a whole situation, okay? That's not why I didn't pick this up, because I don't mind a pressed pigment. But the color story, what is this? Why is it so, it's reds and greens, so I guess I see the holiday in it, but why, I don't get it. And if you look closely at the swatches, there are 2 shades, well 4 shades in here that are duplicates of each other. So we have the 2 tan shades, I can't pronounce these, I'm not even gonna butcher them, but the 2 tan shades look almost identical, and then they have 2 like red corally shades that look exactly the same, and I've seen swatches of them and they look spot on the same. So why would I need 4 shades that are duplicating each other in the palette? And it's $70. And obviously this is not selling out because they've been pushing this like crazy, and even on sale I still didn't want it. That's how I know for sure I wasn't interested, because I would have normally rushed out and gotten this like when it first launched, and I still haven't gotten it. And then the pans are small too, and I know I don't love small pans, so I'm not interested. That was such an easy skip, and I surprised myself with that because normally, like I said, I pick up all the Melt Cosmetics palette, but this one just definitely didn't draw me in. Keeping with the recent launches, we have this palette from Tarte. It's the Tartelette Full Bloom Amazonian Clay Eyeshadow Palette. Now, to be fair, I did pick this palette up and I returned it swiftly. Initially, I thought this would have been a great neutral palette, It's a huge palette. It's an extension of their Tartelette in Bloom palette, which is the 12 pan eyeshadow palette. So this has 28 shades and they're all neutral. Some of them are a little bit more cool tone, some are a little bit warmer, but overall it's a fully neutral palette. And I thought it would be great, right? But when I swatched this, I was like, ooh, these eyeshadows are so thin. They don't pack a punch, and I need them to pack a punch for my skin tone. And then I remembered their Aston Ovart palette and then their other very lightly pigmented palettes, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. I am not Tarte's intended audience, obviously. Tarte is for white skin, very light skin, or if you're into a very light look, or if you're darker skin, maybe you're into an ashy look, because that's what you're going to get from these tones. I mean, they barely show up. Like, what is going on? I had to pack and pack to even get an eyeshadow to show up, even in a swatch, and I'm like, no, this is not worth it. It's $52. I can return it. I had high hopes, I'm not gonna lie, because Tarte has done some decent palettes, but this one, whoo, easy return. That was kind of a cheat because I did pick it up. That was just a lapse in judgment and I really should never have picked it up. But yeah, I brought that back really quick. All right, let's talk about this palette from Rare Beauty by Selena Gomez. This is the Discovery eyeshadow palette. And when I saw this, I was like, what the hell is that? So Rare Beauty has released 2 other eyeshadow palettes. Those were for holiday, was it last year or the year before? I did actually pick up one of those palettes, and I mean, that's pretty decent. But this one here, this Discovery palette, the design, first of all, threw me off. Like it's little half moons and then the center is a big moon. But here's the thing, that center shade is a pressed glitter and I am not into pressed glitters. So that automatically is an easy skip because out of 7 shades, 1 is a pressed glitter? No. But look at these swatches. Like, tell me this palette doesn't look tired as hell. What is it? I'm tired. I am so sorry. This looks so ugly, so tired, and I'm just like, that was so easy for me to say no to, so that was an easy skip again. Oh, should we talk about your friend Jaclyn Hill? Oh my god, Scamelin Hill and Morphe. Whoo, child, they released a neutral palette. What is it called? It's the Morphe times Jaclyn Hill Divine Neutrals eyeshadow palette. $18, doesn't seem bad. This gave me Vault flashbacks because it's in a similar design and it's a bunch of neutral shades. Now, initially this was like, oh, it's not a bad palette. It's neutral tones. It makes sense for Jaclyn Hill. Like, this is what she does, right? But, no, I'm not interested. I mean, it's cute because it has like matching mattes and matching shimmers. But, and hearing Jaclyn talk about it, she was like, oh, it's never been done before. It's so original. It's like, it's a neutral palette with a matching matte and a matching shimmer. Like, it's been done. Don't like, and anytime I hear her talk, I can't, okay? I gag. The more and more she speaks is like the less interested I am, and the more and more I can see through her. And I'm like, this is not that revolutionary. And of course, she didn't do any eyeshadow looks. She didn't do any tutorials. She just like, buy my palette, get it. It's the best thing ever. And you're gonna be so amazed and so happy that you got it. But yet, she hasn't used it. So I'm just like, forget it. So again, easy skip. Can I mention a brand overall that I didn't even look at all year, which I have to pat myself on the back? ColourPop. Every single palette that they released was a skip for me this year. Oh my god, so last year I had picked up a few of their palettes, right? I was like, oh, these are cute. The last one I picked up was the Stone Cold Fox palette. I already decluttered all of them. I got rid of the smaller palettes. I got rid of the big palette. I was just so through because, again, they have the little pans and those little pans irk me so much. And I've also fallen out of love with the ColourPop eyeshadow formula. It's a decent formula, don't get me wrong. And for the price point, it's decent, but I found myself less and less drawn into their color stories and less interested in their formulations. I don't know if it's that I found other shadows that just work better for me and my style right now, that I just avoid them like the plague, or is it the little pans, or is it that they release too much and they just saturate the market and I'm just exhausted by them? And when you have too many options available, it's like you get so overwhelmed that you end up getting nothing. I think it's a combination of all of that, but ColourPop It's too much. They're adding so much waste to the environment with their fast fashion approach to cosmetics. I'm so over it. And I'm taking a stand. I'm not interested. And if we want to lump them together with a Makeup Revolution, let's lump them all together. Because why do they release so many palettes? I am over it. And BH Cosmetics is a close runner-up as well for over-releasing. Like, stop. I can't do it. I cannot do it. All right, let's talk about the Too Faced Teddy Bear It All palette. What is this? Like, what is Too Faced doing? It's so cringy to me. Every time Jared releases a palette, I'm just like, what is he gonna do now? It just screams of pedophilia, and I feel icky about it because he tries to sexy up the palette like it's Teddy Bear It All, like bear as in bare naked. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm just like, why are you doing this? Stop, please. It's a cute little palette, right? It reminds me of the ABH Primrose Palette in that it has those two larger eyeshadows that look like they could double as face powders, and it has two little marbly shades that are reminiscent of Huda Beauty and her marbly shades. But nothing about this palette intrigues me, and the fact that the teddy bear is there just makes me cringe, and I'm just like, eek. That is so because kids are gonna be attracted to it, but I see what you're saying. You're trying to make it sexy, and no, I can't do it. It's just so bland. It is so bland, and I'm just like, why? And I'm sure the formulation is fine, right? Like, you know, Too Faced can do a decent formula, but why? Like, why are we doing this? This was such an easy skip as well. I can't even bother, okay? And then I'll wrap up with like a nun palette, but also like a palette. So we'll just talk about it real quick because I never spoke about this launch and I feel like I need to speak about it. So these are from Hourglass. It's the Hourglass Curator palettes. Okay. I don't think I have to say much about this because everything that needed to be said has been said already. These are expensive, all right? So they have eyeshadow singles for $29 and you can build your own palette, hence the curator thing, which is why I'm kind of including it with this palette video. And the shades look cute, right? But Hourglass is not known for their eyeshadow. Like, I've tried Hourglass eyeshadows. I actually have a couple of their other palettes that they released, and it's nothing to write home about. Like, it's just ho-hum. It's just, okay, I can buy Tom Ford or Charlotte Tilbury or Dior. Like, why do I need to buy your stuff? I don't get it, right? They've priced themselves out of the market because even if people were interested, the price point is like gonna turn them off because it makes no sense that these are so expensive. So a single pan is $29, right? And you have different curator palette sizes. So you have the single compact, which is $10, right? So you're gonna buy the eyeshadow single, which is in like a pan form, and put it in the little single pan compact, and that's $10. So that's $39 for a single. If you want to get the 5-well palette, that's $16. So it's $29. Hold on now, 29 times 5 plus 16, $151 for 5 eyeshadows. 5 eyeshadows. Are you out your goddamn mind? And then the 3-well palette is $12. So just for a trio of eyeshadows, you're gonna spend $99. Now, I've been known to spend $100 on an eyeshadow palette. I've been known to spend $100 on singles, but for three, like, you're more expensive than Tom Ford, and Tom Ford is ridiculous as it is. Who is buying these things? Like, I need to understand who, apart from like reviewers that wanted to try them out for their channel, really purchased these and love them. I've seen like a makeup artist use them and I was like, oh, that's cute. And it makes sense for like a luxury brand makeup artist, one that only uses like Tom Ford and Dior and, like, you know, the bougie celebrity artists. Like, I can understand them using them because of course they want to give that experience to their clients. But if you ain't a celebrity and you ain't like a millionaire, what are you doing buying these? I have questions. I really have questions because I don't understand it. I know there are expensive eyeshadows on the market that are $25, $29, even $30 something. I know that. I understand. But why would Hourglass think they're in any position to ask for that price for their eyeshadows when their formulation is not that great? I don't know. I need you know. So I'm gonna wrap it up with that. So those are the palettes that I didn't pick up this year that I don't regret and I almost forgot about, okay? I didn't even think twice about any of these palettes, and I haven't really seen them reviewed here on YouTube from the channels that I watch, and I haven't seen them really spoken about. So I know I am not the only one that didn't pick these up, that wasn't interested at all. But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna still link them down below in case you're interested in picking them up. And if you've picked up any of these, leave it in the comments and let us know like what your experience has been, because I mean, listen, okay, I'm not trying to hate, I'm just saying, like, why did you do that? Like, what were you thinking? I need to hear your thought process, and maybe they really worked out well for you, so let us know that too. But I'm gonna also leave links to my Instagram and Twitter where you can follow me along. And until my next video, I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.